Hey everybody, it's Tuesday and I have two women talkings banked. Coming up soon there will be, what do we do? We did a defense of the 13th Doctor because Eileen is now finished seeing the 13th Doctor run on Doctor Who. And then we did a thing about the Fantastic Four movie because, as you know, Eileen's a huge Marvel fan. Yes, the Doctor Who, the 13th Doctor one, Julian's back because it's Doctor Who and he is our doctor. So that will be coming up in future weeks. It's nice to know what's going forward, but I did promise that I would do my video on Death Stranding 2 when I finished I don't consider myself completely finished the game, but I have finished the campaign. There's a couple of mop-up missions that you can't do until the main campaign is finished. I have not done those, but I feel like I have played enough of the game to get a sense of it and be able to talk intelligently about it and feel, in this case, is accurate, because that's going to be my big focus on this video, the idea of AAA innovation via emotional difficulty. That is a term that I have come up with based on my experiences playing Death Stranding 2. So if you like it, feel free to keep using it. I like coming up with terms. So the way this video is going to work is that I will talk about it without spoilers, and then I will go spoilers follow for people who haven't played the game, who plan to play the game. So stop watching at that point. I don't think this game is totally spoilable because it's a Kojima game. And so if you're paying attention, you see the twist coming, and thank God, because I would have been utterly gutted if I didn't see some of the twist coming. But, yeah. To me, they made the twists very obvious, but there are certain, you have to sort of be fluent in Kojima speak for some of them to make sense. I mean, one of them's just straight out, it's in the load screens. It's in the background art on the PS5. So, wasn't trying to make that a surprise. And yet, that's what I mean by emotional difficulty. So let me do the help support this channel, and we'll get into it. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron, patreon.com/LeannaK, or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who can use it but can't afford it, coffee.com/LeannaK. Like and subscribe if you like this content as well. It's another one of those really expensive periods. I'll talk more about that on Wellness Wednesday, because these videos, I don't want to put anything time sensitive in this video. Okay, so emotional difficulty. This is a game that really tests you. There will be something that horrifies you, something that disgusts you, something that makes you feel funny, something that will make you angry, definite frustration, and a lot of good things as well. The characters are weird and wonderful, weird being a compliment. It's interesting to set it in Australia. Really, really gorgeous environments, a good, it's anachronistic weather systems, but that's because it's post-Stranding. It is interesting how they changed the climate of Australia in places, but I mean, the desolate beauty factor is definitely there, and the rescuing animals mechanic, I got obsessed with wombats and then echidnas, and they give you little facts, and it is very cool. And this is one of these things where I know a lot of Western media critics have issues with tonal messes or tonal dissonance, and I really wish they'd stop that and just engage with whether or not it works. And to me, it does work in this game because you're dealing with people who either live alone or sort of live underground with greater or lesser degrees of number of populations in the shelters. And if somebody's living alone, they're going to be eccentric. And so the goofier things that happen to me is not just, oh, Kojima being weird. It's the point that people sort of become oversized versions of themselves when they're isolated, and so people aren't judging them, but they also become very lonely. The original Death Stranding was an accidental COVID game. Death Stranding 2 is a deliberate post-COVID game. And the thing to me, the point of the game that is spoiled in, load screens is a big part of that. How human replacement technology affects the way we interact with each other. This sort of craving for connection, but bitterness that comes from loneliness causes us to make absolutely anything. By us, I sort of mean, narrator. That's a really freaking pretentious habit I picked up as a games journalist. Certain characters in the game, their loneliness makes them turn everything, even otherwise creative endeavors, into a really destructive kind of fight to the death. Whereas here's Sam, this delivery man with a phobia of being touched, bringing all these people together just by being useful and caring in his own way. And I do utterly love that carryover from the first game. Now, do you need to play the first game to play the second? Shockingly, no. It's very good at keeping you informed if you're picking it up cold, but I would, I'm torn because the second game gets into things a lot quicker. The first game has a much gentler learning curve, but also the story in the first game is just so good that even if you've been spoiled on certain events, it is still worth playing just because of that, high quality motion capture performance element of the product. And again, this is why I say AAA still innovates. Don't count AAA out on innovating, because these are mass appeal games. And what always amazes me about what Kojima Productions does is they make these mass appeal games by making things that everybody is going to get at their own level. And the reviews that say it's sort of a bigger, bolder, more bombastic sequel, I think that's predominantly about the ending. That being said, there are a lot of really cool kind of fluidity of play, what we call quality of life improvements, but really just they've smoothed out certain elements of the gameplay from the first game. I really enjoyed it very much, but I mean, it's very familiar if you played the first game. The story picks up, a few years after the first game. I will talk about the plot in the spoiler section. And there are three main twists, all of which, it was funny because I was talking to Eileen once I finished the game. She finished it before me. And the one twist, I was like, yeah, when did I figure out that was going to be a part of it? Oh yeah, the load screen art, big screaming clue right there. It was like, oh, okay, this is gonna happen. And that's one of the things I very much enjoy People say Kojima's weird, even I said that in this video, but the truth is he's not. He's metaphorical. Weird is just being strange for the sake of strange to me. Whereas there is a very clear, almost a filmmaking method to what he does, but that's selling it short. And I don't feel bad saying it's a filmmaking method because Kojima has been on the record saying that, games have something to learn and game designers have something to learn from other media. And he's really used everything in this game to tell the story, the, infamous short film, long Kojima cutscenes. I was setting up my new laptop over the weekend, and I actually did to motivate myself because I knew it was going to be a pain in the ass. I have 3 different authenticator apps on my phone, and I needed to use all of them to get into the various programs I needed to install on the damn machine. So it was like, what's going to take longer? Setting up this laptop or the, end of game Kojima cutscenes? Not only did the laptop take longer than the Kojima cutscenes, it was an hour and a half longer than if you included credits. It took 6 bloody hours to get this laptop fully operational. And then I forgot a few things and had to put them on. Fortunately, those were easy. But yeah, there are lengthy cutscenes, but they didn't feel long. It's not like sort of that early 2000s period where the opening of a game was a damn movie. It all kind of is mainly at the end. At one point, they even fourth wall break and warn you that a really long cutscene is coming, which I thought was quite cute and self-aware. And when you're prepared for it, you can go in kind of enjoying it as opposed to going, oh my God, how long is this, right? He doesn't shy away from his love of cinema and incorporating it into his games. But music, dance, visual art, especially sort of abstract or metaphorical visual art, they all layer onto theme, onto meaning. One of the things I thought was very cool, which I did not pick up on in the first game, is that the music in the game is basically Sam's playlist. Because I'm like, what's with like all of these very chill songs? And it's like, yeah, a guy who has chronic nightmares is probably gonna want to stay soothed. But they're sad songs as well, and they sort of deal with solitude and regret and loss and all the things that Sam has felt and is feeling. And I thought that was a really interesting connection point into the head of a character who doesn't say much. So well done there. The nightmares Sam has in the second game, oh my God, the churches music, the two churches tracks are highlights of the soundtrack. But it's cool also how they tie music to moments, so you set it up in the playlist and you can remember, like, oh yeah, that's when I did that. And memory and the importance of memory and the sort of continuum of connection in memory, that is another major theme in this game. And that's where the emotional difficulty comes in. This game does not pull punches on loss and pain and grief and denial and hate. And one of my cats says, oh, hi, Midna. I said hate. Midna went, Wah! Yeah, hi, baby. And you can either bounce off of it or you can sink into it. And so people are going to, Midna, don't scratch my chair. Midna. See, that's a form of connection. And it's funny because I was about to say that even things that start off as sort of hey, here's like diegetic in-game reminders for mechanics that we taught in the first game. We're sort of just assuming you know in the second game, but here's a reminder if you don't. Take on additional poignance later in the game. Very subtle. You do things again and again and again. You know, like Sam goes to the private rooms, and you know, he goes to sleep, and you know that whole thing about how he's all dirty and you can shower him off. That's all there from the first game. And you have this new character named Dollman who's asking if you slept well, reminding you to take a shower, because of course taking a shower is one way you mine chiral crystals, but they have figured out the way to make that mechanic work on multiple levels. There's a lot about Sam's mental state that you see in those shower scenes that a lot of people dismiss as sort of a fan service thing, which that is, again, being unwilling to connect with the elements of the game that make us personally uncomfortable, that make us feel revulsion or want to shy away. And there will be something that gets everyone in this game. More on that when I get to the spoiler section. But you can choose what experience you want to have. If you just want to fart around and play the, you know, Metal Gear Solid type combat mechanics, the stealth is really fun. It's really fluid. You don't have to use it. It's very much a play the way you want to play experience. But I did find that kind of interactive storytelling that AAA does very well. A commonly misunderstood thing about AAA games is that somehow the easiness makes it less satisfying to play. And to me, the way I play AAA games of sort of, okay, I'm only going to use these weapons. They're sort of like, you know, the challenge builds that you do in Elden Ring. I do the same way in these games. It's not about completing the level. It's about how you feel about what you did and how you did it. How you feel about the experience of doing a lot of these mechanics. And everybody I personally know liked the, you know, deliveries and this and that. The combat, I kind of did more of the combat than a lot of people I know, but I enjoyed the sniping for the challenge, but I also really liked being able to play totally non-lethally with humans. I mean, that is, I think, the ideal way to play. I don't know what happens if you use lethal weapons on humans. I know what happens in the first game, so I assume it's similar, but I never did it, so I was glad I was able to play that way. And I found the pointlessness of knocking these guys out again and again and again just for them to come back. That was the point. It was a commentary on this kind of violence. And it was weird because when I was playing on Twitch one day, this one guy came in and started being a bit of a troll and made some comment, first of all, about me skipping dialogue. And it's like, I'm not even going to get into that because that's not relevant to this particular video. But he said something like, he took a crack at me going into the brigand bases to get materials instead of mining them. And I don't know what he was going for, because the reason I did that is because, like, look, they're stolen. And not only am I getting the materials from the brigand bases, I'm also getting the stolen packages because it's my job. But also, it's the principle of they stole it. It's not theirs, right? There's a difference between sharing and stealing. And that everybody's going to get their own experience. Some people are going to find the combat super fun and want to do it a lot, and that is a valid interpretation. I actually ran it through my mind of, okay, if I didn't feel like the combat was just sort of a necessary evil, because yes, it does kind of encourage you to feel powerful and find it fun. And because of the themes of the game, I sort of deliberately resisted that. And both are valid. There's no wrong way to play. The themes work no matter what, because one of the major messages in it is like, yeah, that temporary feeling of power in combat can feel good. Emphasis on temporary. And, you know, anybody who's played the first game and sort of know the story of Higgs knows that's a major theme in the series. So if you choose to really engage with the game, on an emotional level, allow yourself to feel that frustration, allow yourself to feel the anger, the loss, the apprehension. It's an incredibly challenging but rewarding experience. If you just want to tootle around and deliver packages and shoot bandits and whatnot, that's fun too. Just to me, you're playing the game on easy mode. It's designed to be emotionally grappled with. That's the real difficulty. To really immerse yourself in this world, think, what would I do? How would I feel? Dear God, all of these people are slogging through such adversity, including a lot of body horror elements. Like, I mean, the David Lynch inspirations on Kojima are undeniable. There's some Stephen King. There's a lot of parts of it almost get into Cronenberg. You know, he's clearly a fan of a certain type of film, but he seems to be a fan of all types of film. And the energy of bringing in his friends to serve as sort of the models for different characters. Some of them provide the voices to other people. It just looks like it. To me, some people would say, oh, he's just putting the friends in the game. That's not the point. That closeness is part of the theme of this game. Appearances regarding connection are deceiving. You don't have to totally get over your damage to connect with people and have fulfilling relationships with people. You do have to be prepared to risk something and overcome how easy nihilism is. It's almost like the complete opposite experience to playing Baldur's Gate 3 in that way. There is no nihilistic edgelord in this game at all. Well, unless you want to count the villains. And now this is where I get to the spoilers, because hopefully I've sort of set up my idea of emotional difficulty without spoilers. Now we are going to talk spoilers. You have been warned. Okay? We start the game with a baby killing. Like, there is no harder than hardcore than that. And the game deals with that loss so well. And I found myself, because I was sort of trained with the Sudlu mechanic, I did it because the baby was crying and I knew the baby was dead and I knew it wasn't real, and I did it anyway, and holy shit, well done, Kojima. I was so amazed how the game made me feel exactly what I think it intended for me to feel at every given moment. That is very rare for me. I juxtapose it with the stuff that Neil Druckmann does in the Last of Us games. And you see how he brazenly steals Kojima's beats with no understanding of why Kojima's tactics work, why his techniques work. You're allowed to hate that Fragile failed to prevent Higgs from killing Lou. And oh my God, there's one part near the end of the game where you can actually go back to Sam's shelter and dead baby is dead in the high chair. Like, they do not pull away from that horror. But if that horror doesn't get you, if you can intellectualize dead baby, there's so much more infidelity, betrayal, body swapping. The one that got me was the pause pregnancies. Like, oh my God, Rainey putting a happy face on being 6 months pregnant for years. Oh my God, I couldn't. Coffins, tentacles, drowning in tar. There's just so many things. And then, of course, there is the classic Kojima messing with gender comfort, I will say. The almost 80s glam rocker vibe they do with Higgs this time around is so freaking brilliant. And Kojima's all about the details, right? So he's got that whole glam rocker, very kind of like metal band meets Cersei's from the 300 deal going on. But then he still has, and actually they rendered Troy Baker's freaking teeth. And he's got crooked lower teeth, and it's kind of funny to play a game where that's exactly what's being straightened out. And to me, it works so well. I mean, that's deliberate. They could have just done the typical, like, chiclet teeth, whatever, made it perfect. But the whole point is it wasn't. There, with all the facade that Higgs has going on in this game, that is almost like a reminder of, dude, you came from a particular class where you don't get that fixed. And that is still there in his character. Higgs ultimately is tragic and pathetic and a loser that causes a lot of loss. And he's a very good character. He's my favorite Troy Baker character, definitely out there. I find that a lot of the characters that he does are sort of forced on people as being so brilliant, right? This one, he was deliberately going against type with a lot of roles he does. Like, people who know him from as Joel in The Last of Us are going to be kind of squicked out by some of the stuff. And again, that's the point. There is this thing in his relationship with Sam that some people are going to see as homoerotic. And I do think it's a bit of a commentary on how hypermasculinity and homoeroticism, like, if you slice up the metaphors and like really break down what Kojima's doing in those moments, it is pretty brilliant. And the nice thing about the scenes being so long is you can go like, okay, so it's Sam and Higgs squaring off again. This is final boss again, but they're doing it as a guitar battle. And now it's like a side scroller combat. What? Oh, I get what. First of all, he didn't want to do it the same. And oh my God, the Attack on Titan meets Voltron meets Kaiju fight I loved it. It was stupid and over the top and no notes. Wonderful. Great way to blow off steam. Using the guitars, I did find great. One, because I hate guitars in video games. It is, anybody who's watched my content knows, oh, look, the cool guy with the guitar, you know, the cool Ellie with the guitar. Take on me. Oh, fucking shoot me. And this, I was allowed to go, oh my God, dude. Because yeah, it was a poser thing. It was an overdone cool guy thing. And what I took from it is that here's a guy who is just so like literally toxic that he can make even something that's supposed to be like a creative, expressive activity into a fight to the death that other people are just required to participate in. Because what are the options? You know, Sam participates in this bullshit, or extinction entity, boom, the last Stranding, right? And so they got, you know, the shirts off, the very sort of Japanese style final fight deal, but it's with freaking guitars. And okay, yeah, you're like thrashing and you're doing the guitar battle, but then of course it ends with them just exhaustedly beating the shit out of each other. And it is laggy. It feels like those big whoomp, 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 like FromSoft fights. And you are supposed to feel fatigue. You are supposed to want it to be over. This is all deliberate, I find. And the this again vibe really does work. Because the other thing I loved is the Lou is Tomorrow twist. It was not at all. I mean, you're supposed to know the minute Tomorrow shows up who it is, right? Like, there's no question. The fact that it's right there in front of Sam's face. Of course, Sam is not going to think that because Sam's still in denial about Lou being gone in the first place. But all the intrigue and the stuff before and the switching, the sci-fi elements and all that stuff, as fun as that is from a plot level, it really just does serve to create really heightened emotional states where, you know, they manage to recapture that noble enemy in, I keep forgetting the Mads Mikkelsen character from the first game, but the Mads Mikkelsen character from the first game, the noble antagonist, is a character called Neil Vanna, and I'm still trying to remember the actor's name because he's phenomenal. He's got almost Metal Gear Raiden vibes to him, to me, and that works so well because here's a guy who ended up trapped. He ended up in a dead end in his life. Tried to do something good, even though, I mean, Sam thought Louise betrayed him. Neil knew Louise betrayed him, but still did the noble thing anyway. And you really feel for Neil. And Neil is the clue about what happens to Fragile. And it's interesting because on the Discord, we were talking about how taboo smoking is in Japanese media because of the changes to, you know, from Trails in the Sky with the cigarette. Japan put in really, really heavy anti-smoking laws in 2020. And so I talked about this in previous videos. Kojima wouldn't put characters smoking in there willy-nilly. Fragile smoking is the Amelie or Bridget, I don't remember now, walking in sand in high heels in the first game. It's like Kojima wouldn't just do that. That's weird. Oh. And there's one scene where Neil's smoking and the cigarette burns backward. And I went, oh shit, he's dead. Oh shit, Fragile's dead. She's smoking because it don't matter anymore. And so I was prepared for that moment. You're prepared that Dollman's origin story is going to be a gut punch, but it's still like, oh, like, Dollman is such a miserable existence, and yet he's such a good buddy. And what a twist. Like, oh my God, I know this is going long, but let's talk about Dollman as both a tooltip reminder and emotional gut punch. Because do you notice that when you find out why Dollman is with Sam, telling him, seeing if he slept well, telling him to shower, making sure he eats and drinks, even though, you know, he's like, oh, I miss the taste of food. Dollman's trying to make sure Sam does basic self-care routines because Sam's in a bad place. He just lost his kid. And so that, you know, it's been a while since you've had a shower, Sam. That takes on this whole new poignance, especially after Dollman stops saying it after he's had to relive what happened with his daughter. And when Dollman gets quiet, I'm like, oh God, I miss him nagging me. And then of course afterwards, when it's sort of he's back to it now because it's their thing. But when he stopped talking, I was like, oh God. And when he started talking again, it's like, yeah, buddy, like I don't hate it anymore. So the game deliberately annoyed me so I could miss it when it was gone. And if you've ever lost somebody, including a pet, those gaps where the annoyance would be. I remember when my dog Loki died, the not being woken up after 5 hours because he had a 5-hour bladder as he got older. You know, I slept way better, but it hurt every single time because it was a reminder he was gone. And those are the things, the interactive components of the game really touch on. I mean, Kojima's clearly got a fixation with Phantom Limb. Phantom Limb stuff, like Phantom Pain. The Tar Cat was real. I love that detail. He was my room wallpaper for a while. Not sure. It's a Tar Cat. It doesn't matter. I said he because there's some connection to the spirit of his son, because his son is in the circle near the end, and Dollman is like human there. So it's all like, I think it's their cause there. Speaking of that, what a badass Dead Man is in this game. Like, there's another character dies at the beginning of the game. Major character all the way through because of the thing that no one's really ever gone. And I know that's a platitude for most things, but the fact that they kept showing the music, and I was like, why'd they load up so much low roar in this game? This is overkill. And then one of the band members died. And it's like, oh yeah, okay, way to punctuate that. You see that in the end credits. It's like, yeah, he's still here in a way. Oof, okay, won't complain. The way photographs are used, to me, the act of putting the cute little picture with Sam and Lou in the private room, and then the moment I took it down, because it's like, okay, it's time to move on, and so I replaced it with a Tar Cat and the Cryptobiote plushie. And then I put it back later on. And the way Higgs tries to torture Sam with the memories, but like, I liked every single post he taunted me with, because like, you fucker, and all that's interactive, right? All of that is interactive. That's not just a movie. That's interactive stuff that adds meaning. Being able to set the playlist that you play during the game adds meaning, but obviously every song is a memory because they play it and then you have to unlock it and you earn it, right? So there are all these mnemonics, and it's all about, as long as you have mementos, nothing's actually gone. And I think it's such such a necessary message that Kojima is perfectly happy for a lot of people to not get. Because there's more Higgses in the world than there are Sams or Heartmans or Deadmans or Tarmans, or Fragiles or Rainies or Tomorrows. And so he's prepared for 80% of the people who play the game to not get the message that things end, you still have the memories. It will hurt some, but it also guides you. And those memories, even the painful ones, make us who we are. And Sam being a guy who is quiet and useful, I think works extra well with that. The fact that you can put like patches on. I had that pizza Tommy patch on way too long. We make choices based on our memories and the stories we tell ourselves about those memories. And at a time where people are attacking each other online over end of life standards for video games, basically acting like someone died when a game is turned off. A game where you kill, God, most of the characters from the first game. And unlike in The Last of Us, where it tried to force you to feel something particular about Joel and Abby, you can feel whatever you want about Higgs. You can feel whatever you want about Lou's death, and then Lou becoming Tomorrow, and then Tomorrow being a damsel in distress. Did you catch that? I loved that. And then, of course, at the end, thinking that she was never really in any danger. But the fact that Sam came for her, I think, was the thing that actually Sam caring was, and the other people caring. And those little things he did, like the photo modes and, the quiet encouragement she got when she was frustrated, when she was having trouble with her gifts. The fact that she had all these people supporting her, I think was what actually, she ultimately ate Higgs as a giant baby. And even though I saw that coming, that was freaking great. So one could say, well, it's all pointless, but no, it's not, because it's the emotional bond. It's that connection that really, Tomorrow just didn't save herself. Sam just didn't save her. The bond, even though it was asymmetric effort, that's what did it. And the fact that once Higgs has got Tomorrow, you can still tootle around and deliver packages and level up. There was no dissonance there, because that's what I did. I was like, you know what? He's not going to do anything until I show up, because he wants this big cinematic moment. So you know what? I'm going to get the damn rocket launcher and I'm going to build up my forces. Of course, they all ended up being useless. But then I thought, ha ha, pal, made you wait. You'll do this on my time. You horrible, horrible, tragic human being. And ultimately, I do think that Higgs is sort of that type of guy that Kojima doesn't care if they like his games, because all focused on gloss, all focused on destruction, wants to be important, wants to force people to be around him and pay attention to him instead of earning it. And you earn it through connecting with people and hurting and connecting with people again and hurting and losing and gaining again. And you get some back and some you don't. And the fact that Sam only hugs dead people by choice is a lovely little detail. They also don't lampshade. The only time he's really prolonged contact with a living person is when he's so crushed by, and I'm going to have to go back and look, because maybe Rainy's on top of Fragile, that cute little scene where Rainy and Fragile are hugging him, and then Dollman pops up. Oh my God, Dollman's so cute. I love Dollman. Dollman may be my favorite character in the whole thing, but everybody's my favorite character. They're all fantastic. And this is what I mean. The emotion, the discussion we can have. I'm sure a lot of you watching this who played the game are going to have radically different interpretations of certain things than I did. And that is cool. Now, please do not put spoilers in the comments section. Please. I'll delete them if I see them. I may miss some. I'm just asking you to be cool in the spirit of the game. Be a Sam, don't be a Higgs, or be a dead man, or a doll man, or a heart man. So very, very damaged people who have a lot of challenges in life and have very uncertain futures and a lot of pain, but still manage to make connections and be useful. And the day-to-day stuff is what's really important. And it's just such a great achievement. Again, emotional difficulty. That is my pitch of what is innovative of Death Stranding 2. So hopefully those of you that have gotten to the end because you wanted to see the spoiler stuff, I think I've covered all the major bases. There's so much in the game, Peiko, that everybody's going to have a different experience. And if anybody wants to do men liking stuff about this, hey, I'll do a Death Stranding 2. Though I know a few people are still waiting to play the game. So we'll give that a bit more time. But that is my thoughts. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you find it interesting. If you have a different perspective, you can voice it without being Higgs and turning everything into a goddamn fight to the death. And if you have a different interpretation of that scene, I'm interested in hearing it too. Help support this channel. Become a monthly patron. Patreon.com/LeannaK. Or buy a one-time Leanna Care session for someone who can use it but can't afford it. Coffee.com/LeannaK. Or like and subscribe to this channel if you want to support me and you like this content without paying any money. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this.